The 2026 registration shift, why small and unregistered is a dying strategy. You know that feeling when you realize the rules haven't just changed, but they've been swapped out mid-game? That tight upper back, that low-level hum of what's next. If you're running a disability care business in Australia right now, you've probably felt it. For years, the unregistered path felt like the easier lane. Less overhead, less admin. More time doing the actual work. More freedom to focus on the person in front of you, not a checklist. And for a long time, that approach worked. But here's what's changed. The system is tightening, and it's not subtle anymore. From the 1st of July 2026, providers delivering supported independent living and platform providers will need to be registered. That's part of the shift towards mandatory registration in specific higher risk parts of the sector. So if your business model is built on staying small and staying unregistered forever, we need to talk, because that strategy is starting to look less like a smart move and more like a slow moving risk. And before anyone takes this the wrong way, this isn't fear mongering. This is reality. And we'd rather meet reality calmly than get dragged by it later. For years, it felt like registration was a binary choice. You either registered and dealt with audits, systems, and the commission, or you stayed unregistered and kept things lean. But what's coming is more of a risk-based model. The closer you are to high impact, high vulnerability supports, the more the expectations tighten. And that matters because it changes the whole commercial logic of the market. This shift isn't just about new rules. It's about what the market will tolerate. It's about what participants, families, referrers, insurers, and even future staff will see as safe. A lot of providers chose unregistered because it felt more human, more agile, less corporate. And yes, some registered organisations have made compliance feel like a lifeless exercise. But that's not the only way to do it. The problem is, as expectations tighten, the gap between we do good work and we can prove we do good work gets expensive. Good intentions have never been a risk control. They're a value, not a system. And when the sector's moving towards higher visibility and higher accountability, being unable to demonstrate your safety and quality becomes a vulnerability. Let's break this down in a way that's actually useful. A few years ago, a lot of decisions were made on vibe. Who felt kind? Who responded quickly? Who had availability? Now the questions are becoming sharper. How do you screen staff? How do you manage incidents? How do you ensure consistency? What do you do when something goes wrong? And the businesses that can answer those questions clearly will win trust faster, because trust is the asset, not registration on its own. Registration is a signal, a visible marker that says this provider can be held to a standard. Referrers are already feeling pressure. Families are more informed. Participants are more cautious. And if you've ever had a single complaint escalate, you already know how quickly the whole conversation becomes. Show me your evidence. Some providers have been operating like staying unregistered means staying out of sight. That's not how it works anymore. The sector's moving towards visibility through data, claims, records, complaints, and reporting patterns. And the more visible the sector becomes, the more under the radar becomes a fantasy. If your business is built around being small enough to avoid being noticed, that's not a strategy. That's a hope. A hope is not a business plan. This one is hard for caring providers to hear because it pokes the part of you that values heart-led work. Small and flexible can be beautiful. It can also be dangerous if it means the entire business lives in your head. If you're the one who knows the rules, if you're the one who remembers the participant preferences, if you're the one who knows how incidents get handled, if you're the one who rewrites progress notes because nobody else quite gets it, that's not a system. That's you holding the whole thing together with your nervous system. And if we're honest, you can only do that for so long. When registration expectations rise, fragility gets exposed because auditors and regulators don't assess your intentions. They assess your structure. Historically, unregistered providers could stay leaner, less spend on audits, governance, quality systems, documentation processes, and the admin load that comes with them. But if the market starts expecting a baseline standard of evidence and systems across the board, then the cost of staying unregistered shifts. You either invest in structure now or you pay for panic later. And panic is always more expensive. It costs money, it costs time, it costs reputation, and costs sleep. We see this every time a reform wave comes through. People wait for more clarity. They wait for more guidance. They wait for a perfect checklist. Then suddenly, the date feels close and the whole business goes into scramble mode. But the 1st of July 2026 isn't a vibe, it's a date. So if your business is in SIL or you're operating as a platform provider, waiting to see isn't neutral. It's a choice to compress the work into the most stressful window possible. This is where we shift from fear to leadership. Because here's the truth. The providers who thrive through this change won't be the biggest. They'll be the clearest. Clear systems, clear records, clear responsibilities, clear relationships. That's the part that stays stable in any reform cycle. And we don't build that by becoming stiff or corporate. We build that by becoming intentional. Here are 3 practical moves you can start now without turning your business into an admin nightmare. 1, we love relationships in this sector, and rightly so. Relationships are how referrals happen. Relationships are how good teams stay. But relationships-based growth still needs proof behind it. So ask yourself, if a referral partner asks tomorrow, what makes you different to the provider down the road? Could you answer clearly? Not with passion, with specifics. What's your service promise? What's your standard of communication? What's your onboarding process? What's your non-negotiable around quality? That's how you become trusted, not just liked. Number 2, this is the mindset shift. Not because we're scared, because we're smart. Audit readiness isn't a folder. It's a way of operating. It means your documentation tells the story without you needing to explain it. It means your incident management is consistent. It means your training records are complete. It means your governance isn't just you quietly carrying everything. If you're in SIL or platforms, this is especially urgent because mandatory registration is tied to that time frame. Number 3, the reason people hate compliance is because they treat it like a once-a-year event. That's why it feels heavy. That's why it feels like an avalanche. Instead, we build a system, a weekly quality check, a monthly internal review, a clear way of storing evidence that makes sense, a simple process for staff so they're not guessing. When it's habitual, it stops feeling like a crisis. If the commission or an auditor asked you tomorrow to show how your business keeps people safe, would your answers live in documents or would it live in your brain? If it lives in your brain, that's your signal, not to panic, to build. Pick one area where you know your business is too loose. Most of the time, it's one of these: incident management, staff onboarding evidence, participant service delivery records. Government responsibilities. Choose one and tighten it, not by creating a giant manual that nobody reads, by creating a simple sequence. What happens first? Who owns it? Where's it recorded? What happens next? how it's reviewed. That's it. That's how you turn a scary future into a manageable set of steps. There's a version of this shift that feels like dread, and there's a version that feels like relief. Relief because the floor is being raised. Relief because quality becomes easier to recognize. Relief because trust becomes less of a guessing game. If you're building something real in disability care, you don't need to fear higher standards. You just need to meet them with structure and with leadership. And if you want more straight talking guidance like this with real world steps and no drama, hit subscribe. I'm here to help you build a business that's trusted, steady, and built to last through every policy shift that comes next.